I am honored to invite to the stage Stacey Conley from Conley Sports Productions with her presentation on making the most of marketing, increasing women's participation in running events. So it's an important subject. Please.
Thank you. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Martha, for having me here today. And I'm so glad and happy to be in this beautiful city and to be here with all of you. And for everybody that was lucky enough to attend the dinner last night, was that not the most amazing dinner ever? The food was delicious, the entertainment was amazing, so thank you for that. I met Martha and the Moraleses at least 15 years ago when I was fortunate enough to attend her event in the beautiful city of San Luis Potosi, Mexico. Each year I've gone, the event has gotten better and better, and I look forward to going each year. I've been in the running industry for quite a long time, and I learn something each time I go to San Luis. Actually, every time I attend any event anywhere in the world, I always learn something. And everybody here should always learn something when you attend an event anywhere. So I'm here today to talk about how we as race directors can increase women's participation in running events. So I'm one of you. I've spent more than 25 years in the running industry as an athlete, a participant, a volunteer, a spectator, and an organizer. More than a decade ago, I started Conley Sports Productions, a road race production company in Austin, Texas. Our events included the Austin Marathon and Half Marathon, the Nike Human Race, which was a one-day race that took place simultaneously in 26 cities worldwide, and the Statesman Capital 10,000, the largest 10K in the state of Texas. Over that time, we had hundreds of thousands of customers. As president of Conley Sports, I had a hand in many roles, but specifically, my role with the company was to oversee marketing, merchandising, packet pickup, and our expo. So a lot of stuff I touch on today may not apply to your event, but just take these as examples, use what you want, and forget everything else. I don't have all the answers, but my goal is to get you thinking and ask you questions you may not have considered before. So today, we have 4 key takeaways. The first one is to give you some ideas on how to develop authentic strategies. And what I mean by this is any strategies that you implement should be true and authentic to your event. Don't try to be something you're not. The second takeaway is how to identify new or underdeveloped opportunities. The third is to tell you that participation trends are not linear and that growth takes time, persistence, patience, and flexibility. A lot of changes take years before they go into effect. So the current state of women's participation. To get started, it's helpful to consider the state of women's distance running. We all know that women matter to the success of your event and any business endeavor. We make up half of the world's population and over half of the population in the United States. Women are the key component to the global economy. Women manage household finances. Women are in positions of governmental authority. You want women to be your customer. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on our company, but here's a snapshot of Conley Sports' 3 biggest events from 2006 to 2016. Participation by women in these events grew in the Austin Marathon by 46%, in the Austin Half Marathon by 66%, and in the 3M Half Marathon by 80%. We're not entirely sure what we did, but we made some systemic and cultural changes to our marketing plan and team and saw this increase in women's participation. I can't speak to what other events did to increase women's participation, so what I'm talking about today is what we did under my direction to make this happen. Some points to ponder. Here are some things to consider. Men and women usually have very different needs and expectations. As a matter of fact, women usually have different needs from each other. So who on your team is in charge of key marketing decisions, and how are women driving these decisions? What is your event's brand promise? What I mean by this is, what does your event promise to its customers? Don't show beautiful beaches and sunshine in your advertising if your event is in the mountains. For example, the Disney Princess Half Marathon does everything they can to make you feel like a princess. I've not done this event, but it's definitely on my list. I love Disney World. The Lake Tahoe Marathon, Les's event, hosts multiple events throughout the weekend and has breathtaking scenery at each event. I've been to the Tahoe Marathon, and you better believe Les lives up to his brand promise. The Tangamanga Marathon in San Luis Potosi takes place in a charming and historic city where the hospitality can't be beat. The volunteers along the course are friendly, helpful, and knowledgeable, and they make every participant feel special. You may be familiar with Susan G. Komen. She died in the mid-'80s, and her sister promised to start finding the cure to breast cancer. So Susan G. Komen became the largest breast cancer organization in the world. The entire brand is centered around the color pink. Susan G. Komen owns the Race for the Cure 5K, whose athletes are primarily women. There are now 140 Race for the Cures in the United States, and each 5K gets thousands of participants, and there's pink as far as the eye can see. Susan G. Komen owns the color pink, and it works for them and their brand. I'd go as far to say if your event isn't Race for the Cure, don't use brand pink in your branding. I recently learned about a 3-day walking event produced by Komen where athletes walk 20 miles each day. This is a fundraising event, and each participant has to raise $2,300. I'm interested in doing this event not because it's a fundraiser for breast cancer, but because of the challenge and the female camaraderie. And of course, I love pink. So what are some barriers that may keep women from participating in your event? Before you launch a marketing plan, it's helpful to be aware of some things that may be considered barriers to your customers' participation. Some barriers may be out of your control, such as the location of your event. Is your race in the desert? Is your race in a hot month? Is your race in a remote location? There may be some barriers that you do have some control over that won't conflict with your business model. I'm going to talk about a few of these today. This is not an exhaustive list, but may include some barriers that your women customers consider when selecting an event to participate in. I've been in the business for 25 years, like I said, almost half my life, and I know how entry fees may be the one thing you can't change because it's integral to your business model, but you can get creative. Women, like men, like a good value. If you aren't able to offer discounts on your entry fees, consider offering other items that your customers will perceive as added value. Maybe a long sleeve shirt rather than a short sleeve, or a jacket, or even a backpack. One year we gave backpacks to our customers instead of shirts, and the participants loved them because they were different. We still see these backpacks around town. It wasn't too long ago that races offered cotton shirts and even unisex shirts, and now most races offer technical shirts and men's sizes and women's sizes. And as a woman, I really appreciate being given a woman's shirt that actually fits me and that I can wear. For the first 17 years of the Austin Marathon's existence, we had solid cash sponsors. Then suddenly in 2009, we found ourselves without any cash sponsors. We were profitable for the next 2 years despite this fact. How did we do it? We did it through careful and strategic management of our pricing. We studied pricing trends. We looked at entry fees of other marathons of similar size. We discussed how and when to increase our prices, and we did it as a team. So we know it can be done. Several years later, with the security of new cash sponsors, we decided we wanted to see an increase in female participation. Our business model did not allow us to offer discounts, but we offered perks such as special packet pickup, a tent at the finish line, and awards. It was wildly successful and got a lot of positive attention. This is an example of an idea that didn't cost a lot of money and made a lot of people happy. It was win-win. I mentioned family-friendly lodging. How many of you have a host hotel? Years ago, when my girls were small kids, we were looking for somewhere to take them on summer vacation. We based our decision on a hotel that offered kids programs. This made it easier for us as parents to keep our kids occupied and entertained. Do you work with a hotel to offer perks or special bonuses to your athletes? Or maybe even perks to family members? The hotels we worked with in Austin offered our athletes a lake checkout as a special perk to runners. Maybe you can work with your hotel to offer safe childcare, so moms who don't have the benefit of friends or family members to take care of their kids will be able to run worry-free. Do you produce more than one event? Consider offering discounts to customers who participate in multiple events. How about a special package or jacket for women who run several of your events? This will increase loyalty and participation. Women love good values. We had a handful of runners who ran every Austin Marathon from the first year of the event. Each year, we gave them a free entry and a special shirt. How about offering a special edition shirt designed by a local female artist to all women who have done your event more than 2 or 3 times? Child and family care. So globally, women are the primary caregivers to children and elderly parents. Do you offer on-site child care or family activities? While mom is out running, what will her kids be doing? Kids staying at home may not be an option, so what can your event do to help safely entertain kids while their mom is running? Something as simple as allowing moms to push strollers in the race would be a huge help. Safety. What is your city's reputation for safety? What is your event's start time and location? Does the race start in the dark? Is the start convenient to parking or public transportation? Many women, myself included, don't feel safe walking down the street or through a dark alley alone, especially in a city we're not familiar with. Does your event do everything it can to make a woman feel safe getting to the start line? What about dropping out? If I'm having a bad day and have decided I need to drop out, how do I get back to the start safely and quickly and without hassle? Comfort and ease. When women are considering which race to run, they will likely choose an event that makes things easier for them. Toilets, for an example. Clean, plentiful toilets are a very big deal for women. Teddy and Saki are familiar with this. They told me they had 600 beautiful, clean toilets at their start line, and they believe that no other event has more toilets than them. That makes me want to go to their event. If an event doesn't provide enough clean toilets, a woman is likely to remember this and not return to your event. Even when there are plenty of toilets, it's often difficult to find them, especially when it's dark. Does your event have adequate signage that points the way to the toilets? How many toilets do you have along the course? Does someone ensure that the toilets have toilet paper or that women's toilets are used only by women? This is huge, really, it is. Family viewing areas. How many points along the course can friends and family cheer athletes on? When I've been a spectator, I've appreciated multiple easy-to-access viewing areas. And when I've been a participant, I've appreciated it even more. There's nothing better than to see a loved one cheer you on as you run by. Is there security at gear check? Do you offer a place for women to change after the event? These are small perks, but they really do go a long way. Developing the marketing plan. What is your brand and your brand promise? Are women part of this decision making? So in the early 2000s, Austin had a point-to-point course. It started north of town and finished downtown. The Association of Road Race Statisticians labeled us the fastest course in the world. That became our brand promise. Then in 2007, because of logistical concerns and challenges with the city, we were forced to change to a loop course. While this made it easier for the organizers, many runners weren't pleased. We had to rebrand our event and develop new promises. We took the focus away from the fast course and started to focus on our amazing city. So you may be familiar with this logo. It's the brand Lululemon, which Alan, he works closely with Lululemon, Alan Brooks from Toronto. So just seeing this logo makes me happy. It's an apparel store based in Vancouver, British Columbia, and Canada, and it caters primarily to women. They're very trendy and very expensive. But I shop there on a regular basis because I love their stuff. It makes me feel more confident when I wear their stuff. And the cost is worth it because they have good value and they deliver on their brand promise. So, do you have a marketing team? Who's on that team, and are there women on your team? If you walk away with nothing else from today, the most important thing to remember is that the team that puts together your message, your advertising plan, your merchandising, your collateral, every public aspect of your event must have a woman or a team of women who have authority and responsibility. In Austin, we had a dedicated marketing team comprised primarily of women and women athletes of mixed ability and experience. We incorporated as many different viewpoints and opinions into our plan as possible. We made every event to make that team as diverse as possible and took into account married women, single women, elderly women, young women, LGBT women, ethnic minority women, women who walked, and women who were fast. They're all athletes and they all deserve the same amount of respect. Your message. What is your message and how is it relevant to women? What is your hook? A hook is that thing that may be tangible or intangible that makes a customer decide she's going to do your event now. Picture a woman flipping through the pages of a magazine. She gets to your ad, stops, looks at it, and decides, I must do that event now. When I got this from Teddy, I looked through this and I thought, I must do this event. It's pink, which is okay in Japan. Lots of toilets, clean, and women. 22,000 women. So this is next on my list. So I'm coming, Teddy. So what else is there to do in your event, to do in your city after your event is over? Not all cities are as lucky as Honolulu or Paris, so we have to create our hook, the reason women will run our event and let future customers know about it. In Texas, the Dallas and Houston marathons have an easier time getting runners because they're bigger, better known cities than Austin, and they're also easier cities to travel to. So the onus is on us to persuade women to come run Austin because of our hook. I remember asking runners all the time why they came to run Austin, and it was because they either went to the University of Texas or had friends who went to the University of Texas. And while this is great, that only got us so far. So we had to promote our city and let everybody know what a wonderful place it was. So several years back, Austin, Dallas, and Houston started a marketing program called the Marathons of Texas. The runner signed up for Dallas in December, Houston in January, and Austin in February. If she completed all 3 marathons, she received a free jacket. You can tell I love jackets. They're a nice perk. We got quite a response from this offer, and it benefited all 3 cities. Is your event a great destination for a weekend away with girlfriends? You could even make this into a money marker for yourself and your community. Partner with a local business and sell their product or service through registration. I bet a sports massage company would be very interested in working with your event. Women's athletic clubs. What can you offer clubs that wouldn't cost a lot of money? How about pedicures at the finish line for women who run with a club? Charity runners. How many charities do you allow at your event, and how many benefit women? Do you have a fast course or great weather? And how about working with your city to develop a travel package that includes air, hotel, and registration? There are even some companies that specialize in marathon travel packages. Finding the customer. So you're moving right along with your marketing plan. How do you go about finding your women customers? Here are a few ideas. I mentioned subsets. Some examples of subsets that I mentioned before are experienced fast runners, women who are new to running, women who walk events, that's me, women who run for charities, older women, younger women, LGBT runners, big women, small women, you get the point. But all groups should be welcome and supported equally. One of our favorite traditions at the Austin Marathon was to welcome the last participant as he or she crossed the finish line. The race director would present them with a finisher's medal and walk them across the finish line. We wanted everyone to feel welcome, even the runners at the back of the pack. Another bonus offered at the marathon was finish line space exclusively for clubs or training groups. Space at the finish line was in high demand, so this small gesture went a long way and strengthened our relationship with local clubs. So once you develop your marketing plan, stick to it and commit, preferably for a minimum of 3 years. Don't change the plan midway through, as this will confuse your customers. Monitor your trends and be patient. Do your homework. Data should drive any decisions that are made. Success is not linear, and you may have some great weeks or even months, then some weeks that aren't so great. Hang in there and keep moving on. But you have to believe in your plan before you begin the execution phase. So, online media. Don't annoy your potential and existing customers with too many emails or posts. You don't want your customers to unsubscribe or unfollow because of too much communication from you. How do you keep your customers engaged and interested? Women get so many messages every day, so you have to be careful to not inundate them. Don't post on Facebook just to post on Facebook. Women will see through this and stop reading your posts. I recently started following a group on Instagram that looked interesting to me. They sent me 2 solicitations in 2 days. I unfollowed them. With email newsletters or social media posts, include an action step such as registration or shopping or even donating to charity. Keep it simple. The quality of posts is more important than the quantity. I've read that with Facebook or Instagram, no more than 2 posts a day, 3 times a week. With Twitter, you can post as many as 30 times a day. I don't know, that seems a lot to me, but. So expos. Expos are a great opportunity to interact with your customers. Electronic communication is very fast and efficient, but there's nothing like face-to-face with your customers. You can have a conversation with them and answer any questions that may not be on your website. You can give your event personality and show women how special and unique your event is. Keep in mind when finding volunteers to staff your expo booth, make sure you get a variety of people in that it's all body types, men and women, and a variety of ages. Also, make sure your volunteers are familiar with your event. Past participants or even past volunteers are the best volunteers for your expo booth. They're passionate and most importantly, knowledgeable. Here, this is kind of a different idea that I thought of, but how about considering exhibiting at events other than expos? We have a lot of home shows in the United States. These shows highlight new and exciting items for the home. There are also many bridal shows throughout the country, shows that center around food. It would be interesting to try to exhibit at one of these shows to see what kind of response you get. Chances are very good that you'd be the only race there, so why not give it a try? You'd have no competition. While we're talking about expos, do you offer a speaking series at your expo? Why not have a woman speak to your woman customers on any number of topics, such as how to prepare for the race, what to eat before and after the race, or other similar subjects? Do you ever reach out to your local running or athletic store and ask them if you can have a woman speak about running? So every event wants media coverage for their event. This is not always easy, so what are some creative ideas you can do to earn media coverage? In Austin, we developed an event we called the Trash Run. It was an off-season event that we held multiple times a year, not on marathon weekend. We invited volunteers to run along parts of the Austin Marathon course and pick up trash along the way. We provided shirts and would meet at a restaurant or bar and had refreshments for the volunteers after they finished. The goal was to keep the marathon in the forefront of people's minds year-round, to keep the marathon course as clean as possible, and to be good community partners. The Statesman Capital 10,000, the largest 10K in Texas, is owned by the Austin American-Statesman, Austin's newspaper. So they got plenty of news coverage in the newspaper, but not every race has this advantage. Do you have newscasters who are women? Even better, women newscasters who run. Consider reaching out to them or women sports writers and developing a relationship with them to boost women's participation. Offer them a complimentary entry or a free VIP pass. So your first thought may be to advertise in running magazines, but consider non-running magazines such as travel, food, and even community newspapers. We ran ads in Austin Monthly, a publication whose sole focus is Austin, for an entire year, and we're the only marathon that advertised with them. We spread the message about the Austin Marathon to local people, as well as letting people who lived in other cities know about us. This also showed support to our local magazine. In your advertisements, do you feature runners running in a running magazine? That's redundant. Oh, Pablo. Consider highlighting successful, happy women and families at the finish line enjoying themselves. Show off your city. Convince women why to travel to your event over all other events. So here's some examples of some ads we ran in 2016. This was the 25th anniversary of the Austin Marathon and Half Marathon. In 2016, our event fell on Valentine's Day, February 14th. So in this one, we focus on Valentine's Day, roses, and the Austin Marathon, which women love roses, Valentine's Day, and the Austin Marathon, so it was perfect. In this one, we highlight friends, education, and the weirdness of Austin. Austin is very well known for its weirdness, so we thought this was perfect. And in this last one, we highlighted the beautiful city of Austin and that no matter what the weather is, it'll be perfect on race day. And notice we did not feature any runners running in any of these ads. It's kind of obvious. You don't need to show runners in your ads. So we also directed an event several years back. It was called the Zuma Women's Half Marathon. And we found that it was too expensive to hold the event in downtown Austin, so we did it in the outskirts of town at a resort. And it was outside the city, and it was a women-only race, and women spent the weekend there and had a great time. And this is also a fabulous idea. Women love resorts and making it into a big race weekend. So are you satisfied with the participation of local women athletes? Will non-locals, people who live outside your city, attend your event? How far will someone travel to your event? How easy is it to get there? In our experience, customers would travel an average of 3 hours to get to Austin, either by car or air. Any more than 3 hours, and they were less likely to come. You know your city and event better than anyone, so how do you get more women to participate in your event? So in summary, women are the next running boom. Participation trends are not linear. You will have successful years and years that aren't quite as successful, and this is normal. Understand your brand promise. Make sure the entire team agrees on that promise and deliver that to your women customers. Women are not all the same. And make sure you have women in important roles and that they are empowered to make key decisions for your event. That's it. Thank you.